My name's Captain Nigel Lee. I'm one of the captains on the search and rescue sea teams here at Leconfield. We can take off in anything from fog limits, and we can start the rotors up to 45 knots. The only limitation we have is that once we end up either running out of fuel or completing the job and needing to get a casualty back to hospital, we need to go somewhere where there's enough visibility and enough actual lee from the wind to be able to shut down and actually pass over the casualty itself. We do not really get involved in any high-level flying. We operate at low levels, and low cloud over the hills or fog over the sea would tend to limit our operations as much as possible. The Sea King is fairly capable, especially in a coastal or an oversea environment, because we have a radar, and we can use our radar to take us to within about 150 metres of any target.
John Oxley, Senior Operations Inspector, Humber Bridge Board. The Humber Bridge is a suspension bridge, and in layman's terms is basically two poles stuck in the ground with a rope linking the two, and from that is a road deck. The road deck, of course, is swinging from side to side. In the crosswinds, blows out like a banana either. If we get east or west winds, then the high-sided vehicles tend to suffer from the crosswind. High-sided vehicles, motorcycles, caravans and things like that tend to blow over.
But we were making for Canada, and when we got to be about 120 miles off Cape Race in Newfoundland, and a hurricane which we knew about and we'd plotted and we got radio information about caught up with us. Now, we knew that it was there, and the captain knew what he had to do to try to avoid it, but it did seem as though on that particular journey, whatever we did, it followed us. You know, we just could not escape it. We couldn't do anything. And we found ourselves in the edge of this hurricane, having to keep, very much like a trawler, that trawler incident, to keep going forward. And the wind, it's just sort of going around in circles, and you have to be 3/4 of your ship that way so that you don't get blown this way, if you see. And yet you couldn't go straight into it, it was too dangerous. You had to go right 3/4 of the way across it, and eventually the wind itself takes you into the centre. And we got into the centre of this hurricane, and it was I don't know what the diameter of the space in the middle of it, but it was absolutely flat calm. There were bits of driftwood, there were dead birds, there were live birds flying around, seagulls flying around, and right way up above those blue skies. And it was deathly quiet. And we hadn't had any sandwiches, we hadn't had anything to eat at all. We got some sandwiches, and everybody mucked in, and we got some grub down us for the first time in quite a period. And we did everything, tied everything down that we had to do, and we just stayed there because, you know, we were really helpless in that situation. We had way, luckily enough. I mean, the engines were fine, everything was fine. But all of a sudden there was this shrieking, just tremendous shriek and wailing, and it was just as if you'd walked into a brick wall and you were on the other side of the hurricane. But that was, it sorted itself out, and we were lucky the weather eventually abated and managed to turn round, and then we went into harbour. breathed a sigh of relief after that one.
Chris Barnes off the Humber lifeboat down here at Spain. What you can see at the moment is the jetty, what the pilots work from, and the Humber lifeboat crew.
That's fine, sir, thank you.
The place that we're looking at now, this is where the Humber pilots work from. It's where they monitor all the movements and the shipping in the river, and they send the launches out with the pilots on, as far out as the Humber, to pick the ships up and guard them in. Yeah, when the weather does get too bad, I mean, as you see it at the moment, I mean, on big tides, there's that much water comes into the river. I mean, you can actually step off the concrete platform onto the boats. I mean, that's how much rise and fall you've got. So you've got a lot of water. So and imagine that with a gale of wind behind it, it starts breaking over the top of this wall. I mean, it breaks over the wall and the spray comes over into the houses. So I mean, it gets rough. I mean, people don't envisage it getting rough in the river, but it does do.
Short notice, soon past. Long notice, long last. That's right. My name is Harry Sotheby, and in the 1920s, 1922, I was going to be an ordinary seaman on Wilson's boats that's run from Hull. And I can remember one event, was when it was my watch on deck, I was feeling thirsty and I wanted a drink of water. Well, then there was a pump on the outside the galley, and if you wanted a drink of water or any water, you pumped it up. But it just happens that this pump at the time was on the weather side. The weather side is the side where the wind's coming to, you see. It was on the weather side, and as a rule you always kept clear of the weather side, and bad weather you always kept to leeward, get the shelter. But I had to go around to the weather side to get this, get a drink of water. And I was having a drink of water, and she shipped a sea aboard, washed me off my legs and swept me right through the railings. But I just managed to grab them, grab the bottom rail and hang on before, you know, and so I got back. It would have been hard luck because nobody, there was nobody about, nobody on deck or anything like that. They wouldn't have known where I'd gone or when I'd gone.